Assalamu alaikum, good morning and a very warm welcome to our very special show of World This Morning. I'm your host for today, Fahim Bangush.
And joining Fahim, I am Hira Mustafa, and what a lovely and pleasant morning it is in Islamabad today.
Morning indeed, the spring is here, the flowers are blooming, the sky is blue, it's clear and it's lovely all over, especially in Islamabad. We see flowers everywhere. The beauty of Islamabad in the spring season is exquisite. I'm sure you'd agree with me.
I definitely agree with you, Fahim, but definitely keeping in mind that it's a rush hour. So make yourself prepared for the traffic jams. But I would say this also, that for the precautionary measures, leave early before if you want to be at work on time.
Well, still, Hira, I still remember the 90s era where the number of cars on the roads, that the traffic used to be really thin, and the peace in Islamabad, that was... you couldn't compare the peace of Islamabad with any place in Pakistan, really. It was amazing, it was beautiful, and I still can relate to that, and I still can think about that at times and reminisce in the past. It's just amazing.
Definitely, it's amazing. But having said that, Fahim, I would like you to introduce our amazing guests who are joining us on the set of World This Morning.
And not to forget the special, why did I say it's a very special day? Because it's the National Day of Lithuania. Lithuania, a very nice, small Baltic country. And of course, we'll be talking in detail about the country as well. I wouldn't like to give all the information in one go, but to talk about that, we have with us in the studios today very special guests. We have the ambassador of Lithuania to Pakistan, His Excellency Mr. Ricardas Degutis. So welcome to PTV World and to World This Morning, and a very good morning.
Good morning, all pleasure is mine.
Lovely, sir. And also joining with Mr. Ricardas Degutis, we have Mr. Masood Khan, who's the Honorary Consul General of Lithuania in Pakistan. So welcome to PTV World.
Thank
and a very good morning.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure.
It's indeed an honor for us to have you both here. And starting off with you, Excellency, I wanted to ask you, like, it's for the first time that you are, given an assignment here in Pakistan.
Yes, this is my first visit, and I'm residing in Ankara, in Turkey. And really, I'm honored actually to come to Pakistan and to present my credentials to the president.
Wonderful.
And we, according to what we know, it's tomorrow that you're going to present your credentials, or is it going to be today? And also the fact that since you've come here for the first time, have you had any chance to move around?
This time in Islamabad,
Right.
and I'm going actually this week to Karachi as well, because
I see.
One of my priorities, of course, we are very much business-oriented embassy. That means one of my priorities is to look to the economic cooperation opportunities between our countries. And really, trade is not so high as we would like to expect, actually. It's very moderate at the moment. But let us see, maybe we will find some, new possibilities, new opportunities, and I think that's that we're facing.
Since Excellency, you talked about, the trade opportunities between Pakistan and Lithuania, and we have seen our Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari at the forefront championing this cause and, to initiate the trade investment opportunities between both the countries. What kind of projects are you working on at the moment for that?
Look, for the beginning, actually, we have to create some kind of the network, which would be legal network as well. That means agreements. First of all, it's economic cooperation and trade agreement.
Right.
Secondly, it's agreement which is related to avoidance of double taxation and, of course, promotion of investment. This is what we're looking at. And these agreements, first of all, should be in place to attract businessmen actually to work together.
Wonderful.
Secondly, I guess would be actually a bit of learning each other, because we are still in a period when we don't know much. I mean, when it comes to the business people about each other, despite the fact that we have already two big companies working in Pakistan. I mean, two big Lithuanian companies. One is in the Internet of Things, a so-called Teltonika company, which is based in Karachi, but they do have several offices in the country as well. And as well, we have big company in aviation, which is as well actually quite successfully working in Pakistan.
Right.
Right, and also, like you very rightly said, that people still need to learn a lot about both the peoples. They need to learn about each other. Because I was watching some videos about Lithuania yesterday, and I was embarrassed myself because there's just so much that I still don't know about Lithuania, and especially regarding tourism industry in Lithuania, I came across so many things. Such rich culture, such rich history that you can still go and observe. And I mean, it's just so nostalgic because when I go to places like those, the historic places, I just get lost because being an artist myself, I totally get absorbed in such places. And while I was watching the videos, I was mesmerized totally. Could you tell us something about the culture of Lithuania and all the historic places?
Let me start from the history. And really, when it comes to history, the first time in the written records, Lithuania was mentioned in 1009. That means we celebrated several years ago, we celebrated millennium of Lithuania. And already at that time, beginning of the 11th century, there were first attempts to create a state,
Right.
to establish a state. But we managed actually only to do it in 13th century with our first king, Mindaugas, who was the only king in our history because we didn't have others.
Right.
And later on, it was the biggest state in Middle Ages in Europe. And now we are actually quite small, ethnic Lithuania, as we call it, and but having very, very deep historical traditions. And I would say that the best years for Lithuania are the last 30 years, when we managed to reestablish our independence.
Wonderful.
And later on, in these 30 years, became member of the European Union, member of NATO, and a very much oriented country to the social economic development, to the welfare of our population. This is I would say, the very short overview what happened during these centuries.
Right, wonderful. Now, Mr. Masood Khan, I have seen you, like you're living in abroad from the last 40 years and always being at the forefront when it comes to the tourism industry here in Pakistan, and you are always being very vocal about it, that Pakistan has a lot to offer. So what are your thoughts about that at the moment?
Well, actually, as I mentioned in many of my presentation and interviews, at one time I was an advisor on tourism to the Ministry
Right.
of Tourism. And I travel around the world many times because I was in aviation industry, so I go
Yes.
around the globe many times, sometime around the year. But Pakistan is a very fascinating country with so much of rich culture, 1,000 years of history, and the nature has given us mountains, desert, rivers. This is the only country where you can have a temperature plus 50 and minus 50
That's
at
true.
the same
That's true.
minute. You can't find out anything. Mountain range, some 7-8 mountain, highest mountain is in Pakistan.
Right.
Unfortunately, the political situation in our region and strategic position of Pakistan has put Pakistan in last 3-4 decades, we have, gone stray away from the tourism.
Right.
Otherwise, from Scandinavia, when I was living there, we have so many tourists coming into Pakistan, amazing, and they said this is one of the best countries.
Have there been any tourists coming from Lithuania at the moment to Pakistan to explore the northern area's beauty?
Well, this is my biggest wish. This is my my biggest goal to do it.
Right.
Sometime people talk, journalists come and talk that I am representing a country like France or Germany, or it's a country with 2.7 million people. Got an independence only 32 years ago. They were the first nation in the Soviet Union who revolted. They were the first who got the independence from Soviet Union, and then follow 15 countries birth. All these Central Asian state,
Right.
Ukraine and Azerbaijan or Armenia, and you just name them.
And
They
also
all
we
just
do
came
have these
afterward.
wonderful views from Lithuania, the tourist destinations we have in
Oh,
Lithuania
it's
at the
amazing
moment.
place to go. It's amazing place to go. You know, when I went to the university in Vilnius, the capital, which is, you know, even more than 400 years old university in the center of Europe.
Right.
And I was amazed. The people are so highly educated, and they, within 30 years, they have changed the country from a typical communist country to a marketing developed, scientifically developed country.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
Now, Masood Saab, like you said, within 30 years, and I would also like to have your opinion and your comment on this. That how if you look at the graph, how sharply it has risen in 30 years. So, Excellency, because we see, according to statistics over the internet, that it's number 10 in the global fintech ranking. It's number 1 in the global ranking in the tech startups of the FDI Attraction Index.
Yeah.
Also, we see it's the 3rd in the EU for the share of population with the higher education.
Wonderful.
And also, there are about 42,000 ICT specialists who are employed. Also, the best part that I came across was that the level of unemployment is so less. It's wonderful how Lithuania has come so far in such a short period of time. What's the secret? Perhaps we could use some of those tips in our country.
Indeed.
There is no such a big secret, actually.
Right.
First of all, we were very much focused. For us, you know, 90s, when we reestablished our independence, was some kind of coming back to Europe. And really, we were very much supported at that time by the European Union countries, by our partners.
Right.
Therefore, for us, it was actually a very clear path where we are going to. Secondly, really, when we joined the European Union, the next stage in development started. We had to find ourselves, actually, where we are the best, where we can contribute, where is our window of opportunity in this big, quite rich, you know, club as European Union. And really, we, as our Honorary Consul General mentioned, we are not a big country.
Right.
Therefore, we have to focus to something new in economy, and that's why you mentioned already such sectors as fintech, such sectors as promotion of the startups in very different, by the way, you know, sectors in very different areas. That's something what we did find, and I even would mention, for example, life sciences, because we are trying actually to focus very much our efforts in development in the life sciences, and this year we'll have the regular big event in life sciences, and we are inviting the Pakistanis to come as well, actually to look what is done in Lithuania and where we can cooperate.
Wonderful.
Therefore, really, we do have something which is so-called traditional economic areas. We have quite successfully developing industry, which is very much integrated in all supply chain of the European Union, cooperating with very different European companies, very big ones.
Right.
And as well, of course, we are looking to these other, you know, new opportunities.
Right.
Which do exist, where we can, as a small nation, have specialists or ICT or whatever, and really find our way of the successful development of the country.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, since Fahim already talked about the advancement of the advancement that your country is doing at the moment in terms of science and technology, and 56% of energy is actually being generated from the renewable energy resources, and Pakistan is now also transforming itself towards renewable energy resources, and our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is vocal about it at the moment. So, what Pakistan can learn in terms of that from Lithuania?
You know, we are till 2009, we're very much dependent on nuclear energy.
Right.
We had a big, still Soviet type nuclear power station, which was decommissioned. The station didn't work from 2009. Therefore, we had to find out where the energy will come to our industry, to our people. And still our country is importing about 60% of electricity, of energy.
Oh.
And we importing it mainly from the Nordic countries.
Right.
We are very much interconnected, and importing from our other neighbors, from Latvia, from Poland as well. And at the same time, in parallel, we are developing our own generation.
Wonderful.
And really, we do not want to be dependent on gas anymore.
Right.
The reason is that, okay, if we compare a few years ago, maybe gas production, energy production from gas was quite competitive because gas price was quite low. Now, when you look at the gas, prices are very high, and now all these facilities which are based on gas, they can't compete. They produce too expensive electricity actually to sell in the market.
Right.
Therefore, we are looking not only from this green energy perspective to the wind energy, because when you look to Lithuania, of course, wind energy is number one. Solar energy is number two. We have much less sun than you do.
All right.
And really to be in Islamabad actually, in this lovely morning actually, that's something what we're missing usually in Vilnius in Lithuania. And the third, let's say, our energy production, especially during the winter time when cogeneration comes, when you're producing not only electricity but heat as well, is biomass actually.
Right.
But we can use biomass. And this is something what, as you mentioned, what comes to be more greener in energy in Lithuania.
Wonderful.
And like you said, it's doing really well, the overall country, the overall systems, the overall industries in the country. What's the percentage of the immigrants coming into the country? Because we see in Europe, especially when it comes to the UK, when it comes to the other countries which are more populated, there are loads and loads of immigrants coming into those countries. But what about Lithuania?
Lithuania in general is very Lithuanian ethnic nation.
Right.
We are about perhaps 86-87% Lithuanians. And really the issue of people coming from other countries, it came up recently because country is developing, economy is developing, and really we are looking for labor coming from other countries, and usually when we come to the issue of immigrants, first of all is the countries that we know, from our history. Because we used to be, in one big country as Lithuanian Grand Duchy during the ages, and those are Belarusians, for example, our neighbors in the south, Ukrainians, and now many people are coming from such countries as Turkey, as well as we have people coming from Pakistan as well, but those are people who are coming for particular job opportunities. And really we sometimes lack, our industry lacks, our factories do lack people who can take jobs that really there is no in the labor market in Lithuania. For example, there are always now an issue in whole Europe is a truck driver.
Right.
You should find a truck driver somewhere else actually, or people who are doing some jobs in factories, experienced specialists. That's why I would say mainly if we look at the needs of Lithuanian economy, this is the main. At the same time, really Lithuania is very attractive company for startups.
Right.
We invite startups from many countries to come and actually to use this opportunity to continue their development in the European Union member states. And when it comes, okay, when you quite established in Lithuania, that means you have European Union market, not only Lithuanian one.
True.
Well, that's definitely a great initiative by the Lithuanian government, I must say. Now, coming to you, Mr. Masood Khan, as you know, CPEC is the talk of the town. It's a game changer for Pakistan and the regions which are interlinked with Pakistan also. So, what agenda Lithuania is working on at the moment, you know, to invest in this CPEC project?
Well, that is not come up as CPEC with Lithuania. Lithuania is top in the north,
right,
of,
but we do have
north of
definitely
Europe. The CPEC connectivity is from the west part of China to Pakistan, go to the Gwadar, Middle
but in
East,
terms of
and then
geographical
to Europe.
linkages, I'm talking
Then to
about.
Europe, definitely.
Right.
And actually, Ambassador has a lot of knowledge on that because he has been on the transport
Right.
and logistic expert also.
So,
We have been
Excellency, if
talking
you can have a
yesterday. I
word
think
on
if you
this.
can put this question to the ambassador,
Right.
that will be very, very
Your
good.
word on this, Sir Excellency, like we're talking about CPEC at the moment.
Yes, really, it's a great pleasure to talk about transport and logistics. You know, when we look at our connectivity between
Right.
our countries, mainly what we can see is shipping. This is what is very important. We have regular connection between Klaipėda and Karachi ports.
Right.
To give you an idea what does it mean for Lithuania transport or logistics, it creates about 13-14% of the Lithuanian GDP. That means we have very much developed this sector in Lithuania.
Logistic.
And logistics still in the region, actually, I would say that Lithuania, together with Poland, for example, is number one, number two countries in logistics in this geography of Europe, actually.
Right.
Because we are in between, perhaps, of the European Union, Eastern countries, and despite actually what is happening now in our neighborhood on the east with the Russian aggression in Ukraine.
Right.
Of course.
Even in this situation, actually, the transport logistics this sector is moving ahead. And really, we are very much interested to see the connectivity projects developing, to see the opportunities, because when it comes to trade, you know, you find the partner, but the second question will be how to transport goods
Right.
from one place to another. And sometimes even we're looking for some alternative suppliers of different materials what we need in our production chain. Actually, we can't bring these goods from the faraway countries in comparison, because actually transportation costs are very, very high. Therefore, I think what we have to focus on, we have to focus between ourselves in contacts between the ports.
Right.
And secondly, actually, what I would look at is road transport, because at the moment you are working on several routes which would connect Pakistan with Turkey ports, and I think road transport is much more able actually to compete with shipping in this case. And of course, when you arrive to Turkey with your goods, it's much easier than to take them to Lithuania as well.
Right.
Because
True.
we have quite serious trade between the countries, and really a quite well established connectivity between the countries.
Wonderful.
Right, and Masood Saab, you've been working all over the world, I would say, and you do have obviously the know-how of what Pakistan has been through, and now I'm sure you've witnessed the change, the shift as far as the professional education is concerned. Gone are the days when people used to say, okay, we have to just be either doctors or engineers. People are coming in other industries now as well,
Yes.
be it startups, be it other technological advancements. Pakistanis are coming ahead now. So, being the Consul General here, what percentage of Pakistani people do you think are going abroad to serve the other countries as far as their expertise is concerned?
Actually, unfortunately, we have been exporting labor to the whole Middle East and Europe for many, many years.
Right.
The time has changed. Then when the Europe very much need highly technical people, and there is a lot of demand for that. The population is reducing, it's going down in Western Europe. You know,
Right.
people are aging in Western Europe, young people are less. We are a country with a lot of potential of young people.
True. Yes.
They need to be educated on this. I happen to be an engineer, my wife is a doctor, my father was a doctor, my brother is an engineer. We know only these two professions.
That's true.
When we were young. But that time is over. I think I was surprised the way I've seen this country, Lithuania, small country. I used to live in Scandinavia, so I cross over to Baltic, and I see how they have developed this nation on technology, as Ambassador rightly said, you know, in logistic, even in a country like that, logistic is a big thing, they have done it. But on IT, on nanotechnology, biotechnology, you know,
Right.
is amazing. I have gone to see one of the factory in biotechnology many years back in Copenhagen, because they were leading at that time. And I gone, there was about 40 people working in that factory. And out of 40, I think 17 or 18 were PhD. Rest were, you know, university scholars who were under research. Then I gone to the account department, there was one lady and two people in the packing department and department. The box of this size, 1 feet, cubic feet, an invoice was $12 million.
Wow.
That is biotechnology.
Right.
That is
Oh my
sometimes
God.
people ask me, you know, how come a country like Lithuania with 2.7 or 8 million people have an export over $40 billion? So, you know, the impressive part to me, and impressed me a lot, was the changing from an agriculture country to a highly technical country, leading country in Europe today.
Right.
There was a time when there was 3 countries in the world on biotechnology: United States, France, and Lithuania. You know,
That's indeed an achievement.
it's amazing. So actually what we needed, coming back to your question, what we need is to go into the high-tech, you know, education, diversify into the ITs and different technologies. What we can do with Lithuania is to learn from them.
True,
You know,
absolutely.
I have been, we want that students should go. We have been going some student old days, and I think we like to discuss this, that more students should go. Some of the best university in medicine and technology is in Lithuania. You know, some of the American students are coming, Scandinavian is going to Lithuania to get education.
Right.
So, you know, sometime I feel that we should do something on that. And Pakistan has a potential of manpower, intelligent, bright manpower.
True.
Just it's a question of converting them to the right technology to make them useful in the world.
True.
Wonderful.
And that is what I always try, that we should request the ambassador to see that this potential of Pakistan of intelligent young manpower to be converted into the right direction.
Well, we will speak more about the peoples of Lithuania and Pakistan and both the countries, but right now we have to take a short break. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back to World This Morning with Fahim and Hira. And as you know, we have been talking about Lithuania and Pakistan and the peoples of both the countries. And of course, what Lithuania has to offer and to make people more aware about this beautiful, beautiful country. And talking about the beauty of this country, Lithuania, a land of forests and lakes. And as I was searching about Lithuania on Google, I found that it's home to so many national parks. And it's so wonderful that despite global warming, a huge percentage of the country is still covered in forests. And of course, you find the flora and fauna over there, different sorts of plants and animals over there. And Sir, Excellency, talking about the global warming that's going on, and despite moving forward in the economic sector, in technological sector, in different industries, despite all that, Lithuania has kept the forest cover intact. I think it cares more about the people living there, the oxygenation of the people, the environment for the people. I think that's quite an important factor of the country as far as caring for the people is concerned.
But this is historically actually what we did have many forests in Lithuania, and it's more than 30% of the territory is covered by forests. And in northeastern part of Lithuania, in that district, when you mention lakes, actually every kilometer you would find a lake as well. Therefore, you know, forests, water is really what we have in our country. At the same time, really, global warming is a challenge, and it's a challenge not only for you know, countries in the south, but for Lithuania as well. Because, okay, we are on the seaside, and of course with the global warming, with the water level going up, actually we will see the challenge which is related to the seawater going up. Actually, we will have to find solutions, maybe very similar to those what Dutch did find actually in the Netherlands to defend our territory from the water coming from the sea. That's the challenge what we all have in one or another let's say area related to the climate change. And really, you know, sometimes we do talk about other big problems which do exist in the world, but sometimes we do forget that climate change perhaps is number one.
Right.
And sorry that our generation actually created this problem for you, because to some extent, really, we should feel this kind of you know, uncertainty in our future, actually, which is related to the climate.
Right. Now, Excellency, since I was reading about Lithuania and how they're actually mitigating the effects of climate change, the thing that garnered my attention at the moment that Lithuania is working on the positive services in terms of environmental taxation. So if you could highlight that, it would be nice for the viewers.
It's again, it's very much related to energy. It's very much related to energy, to transport, to agriculture, but because when we look who are the biggest polluters,
right,
it's energy, transport, agriculture, perhaps the main three, I would say. We can find others as well. We don't have industries which are very much polluting. But when it comes, for example, okay, we can take you know, transport.
Right.
What we can do in this case, first of all, okay, we will use conventional transport anyway, diesel, gasoline, but what we can, so at a moment actually for a period, but what we can do, there are several let's say directions where we can go. First, it's biofuel.
Right.
We can add a bit of biofuel in dieseline or in gasoline. And in Lithuania, for example, legally, according to the legislation, you are required to have 10% actually added biofuel in this fuel. Actually.
Oh, that's nice.
Secondly is of course the electrical solution, electrical vehicles.
Right.
And we are starting from the municipal, you know, steps. That means now municipalities they switched from diesel to gas. Then now they actually switching from gas to electrical vehicles, to electrical buses.
Right.
And this is, I would say, you know, way forward on municipality level. And when it comes to let's say the trucks, the road haulage. Okay, there are two ways as well to see it. One is some people would say that the gas solution is a proper way, but I would say hydrogen anyway it's coming, and we perhaps when we are jumping into the future we should look at the hydrogen as perhaps as the some kind of the final objective what we'd like to achieve. But the most difficult, I would say, it's the private cars.
Yes.
They are big polluters, and perhaps in the cities, in many places, they are the biggest polluters. Therefore, we should find some kind of the incentives through taxation, maybe through some assistance as well, financial instruments to promote the population to buy electrical vehicles.
Right.
And as well to establish network for these electrical vehicles to be operated, to be functional, because you need charging stations, you need industrial charging stations. For example, in the petrol stations, you have to actually invest, and as well you have to create for the private person actual opportunity to charge your car next to your house or in your garage, what you have in the apartment building. This is kind of actually a way. But you mentioned right, actually, taxation, state policy, sometimes positive incentives, sometimes so-called negative incentives when to pollute costs. For you, actually, it's more expensive to pollute than not to pollute. Then this is what we are doing in Lithuania.
Well, that's really a great initiative by the government of Lithuania.
Yes.
But coming back to you, Fahim, I mean, we already had a discussion when we were going on a break about, Excellency is being designated here for the first time. So let's talk to him about his experience so far. I mean, what kind of impression he was having in his mind before coming to Pakistan.
This is my first time.
Right.
This is my first time, and really you are in a very difficult region, but Lithuania is in quite difficult region as well. And really, when we are facing the last, I would say, somewhere nearly 15 years, we are passing through quite uncertain periods globally.
Right.
Globally, that's true. Yes.
And facing some challenges, perhaps what we didn't expect to see. Therefore, my approach in general is actually to look from this positive side of our relations, to find opportunities actually, and of course to know the challenges which do exist in every country, in every region. But sometimes this positive agenda, it does help actually for us to go through the challenges existing.
Yeah.
And I very much hope that my agenda during this years, when I will be accredited to Pakistan, will help me to bring something new in our relations and something very, very positive.
We're really hopeful as well in that regard, definitely. Sultab, since we're short of time, we would love to have your comments today. We've spoken about Lithuania, spoken about Pakistan, and definitely your comments towards the end.
Well, actually, you have already done a great job. You both know a lot about Lithuania, and I'm very happy to, because there are not many people in Pakistan, who know that, it's one country in the north and a small country, but it's an amazing country. I feel that I am part of the history, when this new country was born and got the independence. I bring their flag to Islamabad, and I put the flag here in Islamabad in 1996. So since then I have been trying to, within my limited resources, trying to introduce Lithuania to the young people, that what Lithuania is all about. I think we can learn a lot from each other. We can do a lot for each other. Business is definitely the first motive, but scientific development, education, there are a lot to do. Culture exchanges. We are going to have a culture program here in next week. Lithuanian artists are coming in, and I'll like that you people should join it and see it. They are coming all the way from Lithuania. They are performing now in Karachi. They will perform in Lahore and then in Islamabad in NCA. So we are trying to exchange the cultural and educational and scientific exchange. That is what is needed, and of course the trade is the main game today. You know, business is very important between the two countries.
Wonderful.
Yes, definitely.
Your last comments, Excellency, on the National Day of Lithuania.
It's a great pleasure, really, to be in Pakistan on this day, and really thank you very much for inviting me and for having this opportunity to talk to your audience, and thank you for your questions.
No, it's definitely a pleasure for us, and it's a great opportunity for us that you were here today and you spoke about your country. And of course, we need representatives, good representatives of these countries. Definitely, we saw how our foreign minister in the recent past went to Lithuania, and definitely we saw how Lithuania has actually helped Pakistan, especially in the floods of 2022. We do know that, we acknowledge that, and we thank Lithuania for that. And on behalf of our channel, on behalf of State Television, we thank you, sir, we thank you, Excellency, for coming in here, taking out time and talking about your country and talking about different opportunities that exist. And definitely we need time to learn about each other. We need time to learn more about each other's country, each other's people. And we hope that your stay in Pakistan is amazing, because everyone by far who's come to Pakistan, they've acknowledged the fact that people of Pakistan are the most hospitable people, and I'm sure you're going to love the people of Pakistan and the land of Pakistan. And we hope that you will make more visits in Pakistan, and we're going to have you more on our show on PTV World. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining in. And in the end, have a great day ahead. And Pakistan-Lithuania friendship Zindabad. Long live Pakistan.